Hello, listeners. Connor and Austin here with another bonus episode, this time on the recently released horror, soon-to-be classic, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Went in with low expectations, came out pleasantly surprised, and we figured you'd want to hear what we thought. So, here it is. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So, what were you expecting when you went into this one?
These days, when I go see a horror movie that I don't know a lot about, I knew a little bit about the source material. I read it when I was younger. But I go in really neutral. And with, like you said, not necessarily low expectations, but I realize there's a possibility here that I'm going to go home seeing a bad movie.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It happens a lot. I love this genre, but it's very hit or miss. But this was a hit.
Yeah.
This is a hit. There's some stuff in this movie that's really, really good. And there's, I think one scene that we both were totally freaked out by.
Yeah.
Totally freaked out by. We got to see it together, so we kind of looked at each other and we were like, whoa!
Yeah, did not expect that, especially in a PG-13 horror movie based on a kid's series.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what the
we'll
hell?
get into that scene later, but yeah, it was great.
Suffice it to say, massive spoiler warning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, you don't want to listen to this one yet, go see it, then come back and listen, because we need the points.
Or listen and never see the movie and just take our word for it.
Yeah, we'll take that too.
I don't know. Do what you want to do at the end of the day.
As long as we're involved in your viewing process, do whatever you want. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was directed by Andre Overdahl, I want to say.
I think that's how you say it, yeah.
Yeah, written by Dan Hageman, Kevin Hageman, and Guillermo del Toro, who also produced it. He was the reason I went to see this.
He's the reason why it got made, yeah.
Yeah.
He's, big reason why the money was there.
In the creature designs, you can see a bit of his influence, too.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's children's, kind of like children's fantasy type stuff, but it's also like, it's a little kind of teetering between adult and children and adult, and definitely going full on adult later in the movie.
Oh yeah, like it starts out as kind of like a Goosebumps, like for kind of tweens, and evolves into a full blown horror film,
which is like really popular right now. You have the It movies, we have the new one coming out soon.
Yeah,
it's like focused on kids. Stranger Things is like a big popular thing that everybody likes. It's kind of like going back to that 80s, like Stand By Me type stuff, where it's kind of centered around children.
And this takes place in 1968.
Yeah.
Right before Nixon's re-election.
Which we see a lot in the film.
Was it his re-election or his election?
68 would be his election.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Watergate happened in the 70s. Exactly. Okay, so this was Nixon's election. We're in the midst of the Vietnam War. There's a lot of political subtext in this that's really not subtle at all.
No, nor is it totally explained totally. It's just kind of shown a lot, or referenced a lot.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's I don't know if it's totally warranted the entire time. I don't know. It was cool to be reminded, I guess. But hey, it's the 60s. But I very much felt that because none of them were using phones.
Yeah,
that's always a big part of horror movies. If it's an older, if it's the setting is older, you just get your phone. You're like, oh, it's 1968. They don't have phones, so
yeah. The main character is named Stella. She's played by Zoe Margaret Coletti. The entire cast is pretty much unknown teenagers.
The only one I knew was the guy who played the bully. He was just in Euphoria. He was a big character in Euphoria.
Austin Abrams, right?
Yeah, but he's like a he played Tommy in this.
I know that name.
In Euphoria, he's like the only relatable and like nice character in the show, where you're like, oh, that guy's cool. And then he's in this, and he's a total dick. He's like drunk. He's like drinking and driving high schooler, yeah.
With the Letterman jacket and
crazy
everything.
Character, yeah.
There was a lot of cliches in this movie.
Yes,
but
yes.
And towards the beginning, I was thinking like, oh, this is going to suck, when I kept seeing cliches.
Honestly, I was kind of like, in my head, I was a little pissed off. I was like, fuck, not again. Not again. But I was pleasantly surprised about 20 minutes in.
It did not go where I thought it was going to go. And, praise for that.
Yes.
Too many movies these days are just, predictable as hell, and you lose all, interest. And this one, once the shit started going down, it grabbed me.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's like an hour and 50 minutes, and it really didn't bore me at all once it got rolling. I was like, oh, I'm all in.
Yeah. So, main character Stella, she's a horror fan. loves horror. Her mom left when she was little. She's always blamed herself. She lives alone with her dad, played by Dean Norris. Hank Schrader himself.
My name is Asex Schrader. You can go fuck yourself.
Christ Marie. It's minerals. We're both huge Breaking Bad fans. So
massive.
The second we saw Dean Norris, we were both like, yes.
He might be my favorite character from Breaking Bad, Hank. I love Hank. Yeah, he's fucking great.
Hank Schrader.
Part of me wishes he would have won, but, it's okay.
Well, maybe he'll show up on Better Call Saul someday.
I really hope so. I love Better Call Saul as well, but yeah. Dean Norris is great.
And Stella is friends with Augie, played by Gabriel Rush, kind of a nervous Nelly.
He's got a future, though, that kid.
Yeah.
He's perfect. Real tall, lanky. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. Dressed as a clown, but he calls himself like a Perot or something. A French clown. It's Halloween. And their other friend is Chuck, played by Austin Eyzaguirre.
Yeah.
Funny as hell. That kid stole the show.
My favorite part of the movie is Chuck, yeah. I will never forget Chuck.
Oh my god.
He's so funny.
I did not, hilarious dude. Perfect comic relief.
Yeah.
Some amazing lines like, oh shit, my banana, or whatever
this is why I don't read.
And the immortal, who ordered the chicken? Oh my god.
And then his peril.
Oh shit. Well, we'll get to that.
Frightening. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He has the scariest part of the film. So.
I haven't been that scared by a movie in
a while.
Years. Yeah.
In a lot, it's been a while.
There's something too real about that shit. But anyway, they're trick-or-treating, and they're gonna fuck with the bully, Tommy, who's, tends to, pull shit on Halloween. And they throws a bag of shit in his car. It's on fire. And he, is pissed. He goes out.
Really ballsy.
Yeah.
Really ballsy prank for a guy who's going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. I don't know what they expected. This is a known violent criminal.
And this is, premeditated for sure. They planned this whole thing out. It's the beginning of the movie. It's but there's this.
And they, Tommy chases them, and they run into this drive-in theater that's playing Night of the Living Dead, which is nice.
Yeah, that was
cool.
Just
1968, in case you forgot. And they run into this guy's car, Ramon, played by Michael Garza. And Ramon is just the teenagers passing through. And he keeps the kids, safe. Tommy tells them to get out. He throws a nice racial slur at Ramon. And now Ramon's tied to these kids. And there's not really a lot of transition there. Stella just is like, hey, he wants to see a haunted house.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah, they had to get there somehow.
It worked, but it was... She was like, well, it's Halloween. You guys want to, go to a haunted house?
Yeah.
And they're all like, yeah! All on board. It's just teenagers. Just running amok.
So they go to this local mansion that's been condemned. The Bellows house, which is... the myth is that this witch named Sarah Bellows lived there. And she was tortured by her family, locked in the basement... And if you went up to the house when she was in there and said the word, Sarah, tell me a story, she would tell you a scary story that would, freak you out. And they go in there and they find this secret room in the basement, and Stella finds Sarah's book, this book of scary stories. And that's when shit goes nuclear, because now she's awakened the beast.
Mm-hmm.
They fuck off out the house, and the first story starts to write itself. Harold, the Scarecrow. One of the famous stories from the actual book, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which was published originally in, I want to say, 1981. First book was 1981, written by Alvin Schwartz. And, that was creepy. Harold the Scarecrow, well done.
Yeah, very creepy.
Not the traditional, haunted scarecrow thing. They really did some original shit with that.
And the bugs crawling through the eyes and the mouth. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the slow moving, the, turning back and he's not on the pole.
Yeah.
Classic. But then he stabs Tommy, and Tommy starts turning into a fucking scarecrow.
It's so creepy.
Yeah.
And it was so loud. Oh, man. Yeah.
You get this close-up haze, like he's violently vomiting straw.
Yeah.
His hands are, it's so freaky. And then the next morning, he's the scarecrow lying on the pole.
Oh.
It's like, oof. And Stella's like...
He's got the jacket on, the Letterman jacket.
Stella's like, what the hell happened? Is like, she's reading the book, like, did this happen for real? And Ramon...
She's like, I'm scared about Tommy because his name was in the book.
Yeah.
And then Of course, and Stella, it's really cool. I do like when movies use like you got like a young female who's like figuring all this stuff out, like doing detective work essentially. Mm-hmm. Really like that. That's something I can like really get behind. It's really entertaining because we don't see it a lot. Mm-hmm. So I really like that. She did a really good job.
Yeah,
I liked her.
I agree.
So now Stella's Stella's kind of determined at this point.
Yeah, and all the local law knows is that Tommy's disappeared.
Yeah,
and they think Ramon is responsible for this because he's a Hispanic dude who just rolled into town.
Yeah, this is a tiny town. Tiny town.
There, in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And who was up next after Augie, right?
Yeah, Augie's second. Is Augie second? Yeah, he is. He is.
Augie is cooking for himself. He finds this stew in the kitchen that nobody made.
It's funny because, I like that scene. He's on the phone with his mom. Yeah. And he's like, just have this stew. And you hear her like, what stew? And he's like, I don't know, someone made stew. He's like, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. Man. Back at Stella's house, she and Ramon see another story start writing itself, and she tries to stop it by ripping out pages, but that's not going to do anything. And this is called the Big Toe or something like that.
Yeah, Big Toe. Yeah, I think it actually is called just the Big Toe.
Yeah,
I think.
Let's confirm that. It's going to bug me.
It's just this one's really disgusting. This little segment.
Yeah,
the stew is gross, and you actually do see. Yeah, I don't. It's not as scary as it is just gross and disgusting.
I agree. Right, I can't find it, so we're just going to call it the Big Toe. Caleb, if you have problems with that, just reach out to me.
Let us know.
Inform us if we got that right.
Big Toe stew, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
So there's a toe in the stew, and there's this monster zombie thing walking around going, "Who took my toe?" And that's it's not so much scary, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
And he's hiding from it. He can't get out the house. He hides under the bed. And
classic.
Shit gets real dark real fast because this thing like appears under the bed with him and drags him into the void. And that was freaky for me.
Very freaky. You got the classic, he's scraping the wood and you see the marks. Yeah.
I did not expect that.
No. Not at all. And he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, because with Tommy, you're like, oh, he was kind of a villain, whatever, he got his. But now you're like, oh, shit, Augie's just gone.
Yeah.
One of our main characters.
And like we could touch on this at the end, but I'm going to just kind of mention it now. There is no return for these people. Like, this is it. Like, there's no takebacks. The consequences are real in this movie.
They're dying. Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
So. Like, gruesome, freaky deaths. And I respected the hell out of that. I was expecting them to kind of pop out of the book.
Or to be in some different dimension. Like, we're here. Save us.
Yeah. But nope, they're gone.
Destroy the book and we'll be released. No. Yeah.
Nope.
That's not it.
They try to destroy the book, but that doesn't work. You can't.
No.
And
Sarah Bellows.
They start doing some research on Sarah Bellows to try to find out exactly what happened, and that takes them to Penhurst State Hospital, one of the most notorious insane asylums in America. Penhurst was known for being ridiculously, just evil. The way they treated their inmates. Patients, I guess, not inmates, but
inmates to them.
Yeah, to them, they weren't people.
Yeah.
I've read some stuff on Penhurst, which is a real hospital, and just Jesus Christ,
it's pretty frightening.
It's unnerving. It's
real life horror.
Yeah. But Sarah Bellows was a patient here, and her brother Ephraim was her doctor, and he was doing some crazy shit to her. She claimed that she didn't do anything, that she didn't hurt anybody, but she knew something on her family, so they kept her locked away. And you start to realize that Sarah, who wrote the book here, might have been a victim herself.
Yeah.
Changes the game here. And in the hospital, Chuck confesses that he had a nightmare of a red room and a lady hugging him. And he thinks the book's going to try to use that against him. And holy shit, boy, does it ever.
Oh, God.
This is the scene that scared the shit out of us.
Yeah. Chuck.
Yeah. Chuck is the next victim. The hospital locks down with the alarm, and the lights go red. And Chuck is alone in a hallway with this blobby, pale, giant lady with a weird, tiny eyes and a big grin that's just slowly walking towards him.
I don't even know how to describe it.
It's, the pale lady is what the story's called.
Never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's freaky. You ever see that picture of the blobfish?
Yeah.
That's the closest I can kind of compare it to.
Kind of has like that texture on her face that's kind of like the Oogie Boogie Man. And
yeah.
but it's so scary. So scary.
It's slowly
and she's
advancing.
making kind of noises like,
yeah.
just
And
kind of humming.
He turns around to try to run the other way, and it's there. He turns to the right, it's there. Turns to the left, it's there. It's just coming from all sides.
So there's 4,
And he can't get away, and it just keeps coming, and it gets closer and closer, and it envelops him in a hug and just absorbs Chuck into its girth. Ugh. And it's so... We were both, like, cowering. I did not expect that to get me, but holy shit.
No.
I'm going to have nightmares for a long time because of that shit.
Yeah, that's the scariest moment of 2019.
Yeah. Well, so far, it too hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, so far.
But this
still
is
have half the year almost.
This is in the running. Like, good lord. Whew. So that was Chuck.
Oh, Chuck.
Shit, we left Ruth. We
I was
forgot
going
Ruth.
to say, was Ruthie before?
We forgot
Ruth.
Ruth.
Because Ruthie.
Yeah. All right. Our bad.
It's okay. It's just they're just stories, like little short stories, essentially.
Really, yeah. They're short stories connected with a web, which is the best way to do something like this.
Yeah.
Before that, Chuck's sister Ruth was the victim before that, and she had a pimple on her cheek that kept growing.
And she's about to be like in a play of some sort, right?
And this story was called The Red Spot. And she goes into the bathroom to pop it, and this thing is just like a giant welt on her face.
Yeah.
And it's just
disgusting.
It's freaky. You know something bad's gonna happen here. And a hair sprouts out from the pimple, but it's moving. And suddenly it bursts through, and it's a ton of spiders coming out of her face. And it's
so disgusting.
Ugh.
Oh,
God. Ugh. And these spiders just overtake the bathroom. They're crawling out of her face. She's screaming.
Yeah.
Chuck douses her in water and tries to get her, safe, and she gets carried off to the mental ward because she can't believe what happened to her. Just broke her emotionally and mentally.
She has a hole in her face now.
Yeah, from spiders. Jesus Christ! I'd rather die.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Just shoot me.
Yeah. Ugh. So after that was Chuck, and then that means Ramon and Stella are alone in this, and they have to figure out a way to stop this, or else they're going to die too. And they get arrested for breaking into the mental hospital, and the cop there takes the book, and a story starts writing, and Ramon is in the story. And this story is another famous one from the book. This one was in... what book was this one in?
The one about Ramon?
Yeah. What was it called? All right.
Oh, yeah.
It was called Me Tai Do Ti Walker, which was a famous one from the story. I don't know what the hell that means, but it's creepy. And they combine that with the Jangling Man to make this weird, like, piecemeal guy who just, like, falls down the chimney in pieces and, like, builds himself back together, breaks the sheriff's neck, and goes after Ramon. And it's creepy.
The breaks the sheriff's neck. Just one move snaps it.
Yeah,
it's pretty scary.
It's aggressive.
That's an R rating murder right there. It's like I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
pretty in your face.
Think of how harder this movie could have gone with an R.
Oh, I know.
What we could have seen. I mean, it was good with a PG-13, but I think with an R, this could have been something else.
It could have been classic. Yeah.
But that's moot now.
That's just how that's how it goes for most things for us, especially now that we're adults. Be like, of course, we want it to be as intense as possible. So. Yeah.
So Stella gets a hold of the sheriff's keys, gets her and Ramon out of the jail. Ramon tells her to go back to the Bellows house and figure this out. Ramon's going to distract the Jangling Man to buy her some time. So he takes off in a cop car.
Yeah.
Stella gets to the house, and she's suddenly in, like, the good house. Like, it's not run down anymore. It's back in its prime. And she is hiding from Sarah Bellows' family because they think she's Sarah. That's her final story. And Ramon ends up in the house, too, but he's in the house in the modern time, when it's all decrepit, and he's trying to fight the Jangling Man. And Stella gets locked in the basement because the family thinks she's Sarah, and she's crying and freaking out.
I'm not Sarah!
But then she sees Sarah's ghost and starts talking to it.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah. It's this albino.
Kind of looks like a guy.
Kind of. I looked it up. It wasn't a guy.
Huh.
Just really good makeup.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a dude.
Yeah. But Stella stands her ground and says, "Look, bitch, you're killing my friends."
Yeah.
That's basically what she said.
You gotta stop.
Yeah. You're not the victim anymore.
I know you were wronged at some point. This is classic in horror. Like, it's same as, like, there's like a, like The Conjuring. You just have, like, over, like, kindness and like keep killing them with positivity and like try to overtake the evil.
I know.
It happens a lot.
I know.
Because it's hard to end. It's like, what do you do?
Personally, I would have killed them all and then just had the book like put in a library somewhere to get somebody else. That's what I would have done.
Oh yeah,
but
again, in an R-rating world, that's where.
But the Stella says, like, "Look, I'll write your story. I'll tell people the truth about what happened to you, because the town all thinks she's this crazy witch."
Yeah, you didn't do anything. Yeah.
So Sarah Bellows is like, all right, and stops the evil.
Good deal.
Yeah,
like immediately. Yeah,
gives Stella a pen and says, "Use your blood."
Yeah,
and Stella starts writing the story, and it's like Sarah Bellows was innocent, and then it's all over. The jangly man disappears. Ramon finds Stella,
but what's cool is Augie and Chuck and Tommy are still gone,
still dead. Ruth is not. She's not fine. She'll never be fine again.
But she was saved.
She's alive.
Yeah. Oh my god. I like you said, I think I might rather be dead. So.
Yeah, but we forgot to mention that Ramon was trying to evade the cops because he's a draft dodger.
Oh yeah, that was another political type.
This is Vietnam.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get away from that.
That's why he was a drifter, seeing the drive-in movie at the beginning.
His brother was killed, and he didn't want to die for no reason. And in the end, he does, go on the bus to go join up, go to Vietnam, probably to die. Because that's why they keep showing hints at Vietnam and Richard Nixon, because the book is supposed to be a metaphor for Vietnam, is what I kind of gathered from it.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, it reflects the times, yeah.
It's this inescapable evil that's going to get you no matter what. You can't get away from it, so you might as well just face it.
Yeah. Try to beat it. Yeah.
And, I get it. It's nice, but they did kind of hammer it home.
Especially the Nixon stuff.
Yeah. Like, we saw Nixon, like, maybe 3 or 4 times in this movie.
On a TV, where someone's watching. Yeah.
Very strange. The film ends with Stella, Ramon, and Ruth, or not Stella, Ramon, Stella, Ruth, and Stella's dad, Hank Schrader, going off to figure out a way to bring Chuck and Augie back using the book. And they very much hinted at a sequel, probably get more scary stories to tell in the dark in the next couple years. And that's the movie. Decent flick. Solid 8 for me.
I would give it an 8 as well.
Yeah, I liked it. Here's some history on the book series. The Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was written by Alvin Schwartz and illustrated by Stephen Gamble. First book came out in 1981, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. The sequel, More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, came out in 1984. And Scary Stories 3, More Tales to Chill Your Bones, came out in 1991. They were re-released in 2011 with new art, stirring some controversy because it was not the same guy. Fans of everything are fucking crazy. And these were aimed at children, but they were freaky. Like, the art was notorious for being just way too much. And they were almost... They tried to get them banned in 93. I got an article here on Polygon.com. Sandy Vanderberg, a Seattle mother, asked this question in 93. Why are we subjecting our children to this kind of violent material? If these books were movies, they'd be R-rated because of the graphic violence. There's no moral to them. The bad guys always win. Well, yeah, it's a story. It's a horror story. Typically, the bad guys, they win. Sorry. Maybe just don't buy them for your kid. Nobody ever considers that part of the argument. Like when people, why are violent video games, violent movies? Don't get them for your fucking kid.
Yeah, but they always say things like, why are we subjecting our children as if they have a right to all kids? Yeah. That's insane.
It's ridiculous, and it's never stopped.
Far too many children and far too many cultures for you to account for all of them and decide what each of them should and shouldn't watch.
Yeah. But, they're historically, like, some of the most, attemptedly banned books in the American library system because people keep trying to get these out of circulation. Concerned parents, instead of just not letting their kid read them, they got to take it away for everybody because that's the only way these psychos are happy.
How dare you use your imagination?
Yeah. I guess one parent saw some parallels to Jeffrey Dahmer in one of the stories about cannibalism, which, admittedly, some young kids shouldn't be reading about cannibalism. I'll give her that.
No, I agree. I'm not. Yeah, I don't think either Connor and I are saying that like 6-year-olds should be reading these books. It's more of a just like get off your high horse, and like you said, don't make it a thing. Just don't let your kid read it.
We talked about
or wait till they're of an age where they can. I don't know.
The Jaws podcast we just did, we talked about Universal taking The Hunt out of the release schedule.
Yeah.
And we argued that they shouldn't have done that because movies fall under freedom of speech, and books very much do too.
Oh yeah.
And it's not the writer's fault or the publisher's fault that your kid read this book and you have a problem with that.
Yeah.
That's not their fault. That is your problem. That's nobody else's problem. And we're never going to get over that. We're never going to find our way to that.
No, and especially parents are going to be able to separate them.
These parents
separate movies from real life. Like
these parents want everybody to parent their kids except them.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of that. What's the word? Entitlement.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It's annoying.
Very frustrating.
Yeah. And they have banned the books in the past, but they always find their way back
because they're good.
Yeah, and now with the movie, they're going to be more popular than ever.
Yeah.
I've already seen them being sold at Target again, which is kind of cool. And good for them. So, one of our partners, Caleb Leger, recently reviewed this movie on Filmgazm.com, and we would like to read you his review in full, just so you can get a sense of what he thought of this. Here we go. Oh, how the announcement of this movie brought back a flood of memories. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the book series, was a huge influence in my youth for my love of the horror genre. It became what is commonly referred to as gateway horror. While the stories were usually just well-known myths and urban legends, it was the illustrations that were nightmare-inducing. It was also a cause for lots of controversy. Due to the sometimes gruesome and haunting artwork, the series was banned several times. But the popularity endured to the point that we have this year's movie adaptation. A movie which I was quite excited for. So how did it live up? Right off the bat, this is a movie made by people who clearly love the book series and its effect on thousands of young, horror-loving minds. The artwork that was both celebrated and reviled is brought to beautiful life in this film adaptation. The Pale Lady, the Big Toe, we were right.
Yes.
And the Jangly Man all look appropriately spooky and gruesome, the highlight being Harold. Considered a poster child for the books, he lives up to that legacy and is part of one of the creepier moments in the film. Much like the book, this film is a gateway for kids, but with a lot more bite. The scares are suitably intense, and characters are actually killed off. So keep that in mind when bringing kids to this movie. Where it falters, though, is the main story. The cast does a great job, and the pace is solid. It's the basic story. Just like some more recent adaptations, Scary Stories goes the route of the book, which is unleashing all the evils on our main characters. It works, but is also becoming a cliche at this point. Yes, we agree. For the most part, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is a solid adaptation of a very influential and controversial book series. Yes, it uses a well-worn plot to get the story moving, but it more than makes up for it with some genuinely creepy moments and the clear labor of love that went into bringing these stories to life. With the promise of a sequel by Film's End, I look forward to what the next batch of stories will be that will be adapted. Very well said. He also gave this film an 8.
8's across the board.
Rotten Tomatoes gave this film an 82%, which is currently what it's holding. Very high, surprisingly high. I mean, I liked it, but I did not expect Rotten Tomatoes to like it.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well.
It's got
IMDb,
IMDb score of 6.5. That seems more.
Yeah, it seems like more like the general.
Yeah. Overall, pleasantly surprised. Really freaked out. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think I like to keep tagging off of what Caleb said. It's recycled the plot lines and the devices they're using. But if it works, so be it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going into it low expectations, like you and I did. You and I went into it thinking we weren't going to get a whole lot out of it. and we got they like really nailed every even though it was like predictable and we've kind of seen that sort of thing before. It worked, and it was well acted, well casted, well it looked really good, and I had a good time. And there was particularly the pale lady was very, very frightening. Yeah, I'll say again, I think it's the scariest moment of 2019 so far.
Yeah, I agree, big time. I think that about wraps it up for our bonus episode on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. We didn't go really in-depth on this one, no rewind, no This Week in Film, because this is just kind of a middle-of-the-week little extra taste for you. Check out Jaws, recently released this past Wednesday, one of our best episodes. We had a lot of fun with that.
Fantastic. Apparently, Filmgazm's favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
We all gave it a 10.
As a whole, that's the king.
Yeah, if you want to get a 40 out of all four of us, I guess Jaws is the way to do it.
Yeah, that's cool. If you like what we're doing, feel free to leave a comment, suggestion, anything on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. We recently hit 300 downloads on Podbean. Very excited about that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for anybody who's out there checking us out weekly. You're the reason we're doing this.
Yeah, of course.
And the reason we're going to keep doing this.
Yeah, and give if you want to hear things, send us emails. We'll do a mailbag. We'll talk. If you guys have questions, you guys let us know, man.
Anything you want to say, we'll respond. We promise.
Yeah, this is like our best. This is the best part of the week for us. So come on, bring it.
Next week is Weird Shit Wednesday, so stay tuned for the Coen Brothers.
Oh yeah,
can't wait. And see you next Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
or maybe sooner. You never know.